Amman Film Festival in its 5th year, it's going strong.
Yeah.
And again, Amman is probably one of the closest cities to the West Bank and to Gaza.
Something that's really interesting about film festivals, it really highlights all the different variation of minorities and subcultures that exist in some of these countries. This is the start of a genre, I hope, the Eid film genre. The twist is on the day that they're supposed to travel, their nanny runs away and she goes missing. It's produced and directed by an all-female Emirati crew, which is very cool.
Swiftly on to like the biggest news ever, the Ambani wedding.
And
Wait, pause for 1 second. They are billionaires. That's all you need to know.
Oh, surely there's like millions of dollars of diamonds in her hair.
In her hair.
In her hair.
As a hair accessory. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. We're going to be talking about the Amman Film Festival.
The long-awaited return of the Ambani wedding with a bit of an update on that timeline.
And the all-woman directed and produced Saudi Emirati film Eid Eiden.
This is Culture Bites coming to you from Abu Dhabi, the national news. I'm Enas Refaei.
I'm Farah Andrews.
And I'm Maan Jalal. Hi.
Hi.
We're all three of us back together again.
It feels like it's been ages. Well, it has been ages.
Well, we were in the little booth.
Oh, we were, yes. But visually, people can see us now
finally,
together.
we're all sitting here. I saw you were sitting in the seat
Yes,
while I was away.
I was keeping it cozy and warm for you. You have the best angle there, so, you know.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a side, and this is not it. But, you know, that seat was yeah.
Oh, so you're gunning for my seat.
I am, basically, yeah.
I can't keep complaining about switching my head around.
You actually have the busy, because you get the front, you get the side, you get all the angles.
You've got movement, you've got swish.
Yeah.
Whew. It's very nice.
How are you both?
I'm good. I'm well. I've had like a bit of a sick child last week. So it just throws you out a little bit.
Yeah.
I was a sick child last week.
Oh,
so I had
So
a
was
cold. I had a man flu.
Which
Which is just a cold and me complaining a lot.
Are you one of those people who complains a lot when they're sick?
Yeah. And if I'm like really sick, then like if I'm a little bit sick, I complain. If I'm you can't tell the difference because I just complain.
Do you have people come and nurse you? Did you have friends and family step in?
Yeah.
Stroke your hair?
No, listen, it's embarrassing. I'm like the biggest baby when I'm sick. Like nothing makes sense. I don't know what day it is. I don't check my phone. I don't open anything. I just want to sleep. It's really bad.
I do feel like our whole team has been slowly, one by one.
Getting sick.
I've got a bit of a Phoebe buffet, but I've definitely got, I'm on the other side.
Oh no.
It's the weather, it's the heat. And the heat and the cold and the heat and the cold.
I suppose because we go inside and then we go outside.
Yeah, that's what happened, yeah.
So.
But wait, Farah has some big news.
Big news?
She is.
Oh yeah, we've had a baby born in the family. My brother and sister-in-law had baby Rafi.
Oh.
Baby Rafi, Mabrouk.
It's a great name.
It's an Arabic name, right?
Yeah,
Yes, it is. Yes.
Would you like to tell us what it means? I can.
Oh, you can?
What?
Yeah.
Little old me. I believe it means like higher meaning.
Yes,
Oh.
Refaei or like
Literally my
is
name.
that your surname? That's your surname. Refaei.
Refaei, yeah, high one.
Oh well, we're calling him Rafi. So
After me.
after you.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Love that. So congratulations, Mabrouk. That is so...
Thank you.
I was just talking today with a colleague of ours, just talking about that baby bubble. And I'm really missing it at the moment. Asia turned 5 recently. And I'm just like, the baby bubble's so cute. And like, you just feel like you're wrapped in cotton wool and everything's just like cozy around you. So congrats to the family. Enjoy
It's
those
lovely.
cuddles.
It is
the
lovely.
smell.
I've not really been allowed near him because I've been sick, but
Oh, of course, yeah.
I have been allowed near Arlo, his older brother, who's also sick. So we've just been like relegated to the corner to be disgusting coffers in the corner together. Hey, it's fun.
Fun times.
Let's move on to something much more fun.
We're going to talk about culture.
We are. That's what we're here to do.
And we're here, and we're going back to my homeland.
So it is
Amman
currently
Film Festival.
Yeah, the Amman International Film Festival. I believe the fifth year.
Mm-hmm. And it's happening right now. We have one of our reporters there, Raz. Actually, he just posted some really interesting stories on our national Instagram, so follow us, about one of the stories that we're talking about, which is how do you say her first name? Alana Hadid.
Alana Hadid.
Who, yes, she is of the Hadid family. She is Gigi Hadid and Bella Hadid's older sister.
Half sister, yeah.
Oh, older half sister. And she has, a couple of months ago, she announced that she was starting a film production company, Watermelon Productions.
Yeah, Watermelon Productions.
Yes,
Pictures,
which is focusing on Palestinian films, but also stories from the global south.
Should we talk about why the Hadid family is so invested in Palestinian film and culture?
I think we should.
I think we should.
Over to you, Farah.
Their father, Mohammed Hadid, is Palestinian. So all of the Bella and Gigi and Alana and all of their siblings, they're all half Palestinian.
And big advocates for the Palestinian
Very,
cause.
very
So
big
they
advocates
talk
for
about it
Palestine.
all the time. And they've set up Watermelon Pictures as a way of kind of like promoting and distributing films which were coming out of the of Palestine, but also out of the wider region as well. And I think it's really, it's another little, and I know I keep talking about the Cultural Revolution in our area, but it's another little hint of what is happening here and how money and time and effort is being invested in this region and in the stories that we've got to tell from our own perspective for the first time ever. Well, not for the first time ever, but for like promoting it in a much more global friendly way. And the Amman Film Festival in its 5th year, so it's going strong.
Yeah.
And again, Amman is probably one of the closest cities to the West Bank and to Gaza. So it's important that things like this happen in that region, especially.
And in the opening piece that actually Razmik wrote, he talked about how while everybody was celebrating all the films, there was kind of like a somber atmosphere on the opening night, and Palestine was represented in a lot of different ways, whether it was through the images or the conversations. It was, people were always talking about.
And also through
Palestine.
fashion choices, like people were wearing Palestinian brands, Palestinian patterns. So it was very like it was a like real representation on the red carpet, and obviously through like the cultural choices.
Because Amman has the biggest number of Palestinians living outside of Palestine, I think.
Yes, so actually Jordan is like one of the few countries in the world which has more refugees or people who don't come from Jordan. So the national Jordanians, the Jordanians as they're often called, are a minority in the country. So my dad is one of them. He's a minority in Jordan. And a lot of the people from, areas surrounding Jordan have moved to Jordan, whether it's Palestinian, Syrian, Iraqi, have moved to Jordan and made it their home, which I'm really proud that, Jordan has stayed stable and been able to offer a home. But again, it's a really important place that we're able to celebrate Palestinian culture from, because so many Jordanians are Palestinian or have Palestinian roots or have Palestinian family. I think it's really difficult to like separate us based on lines written on a map. So really important. So any films that have been standing out?
I've seen a few trailers. There's a really interesting documentary. Not documentary, My Sweet Land by Jordanian-Armenian director. And this is what's something that's really interesting about film festivals. It really highlights all the different variation of minorities and subcultures that exist in some of these countries. So My Sweet Land by Jordanian-Armenian director Sareen Haribidan. It's a story it's about an 11-year-old boy who dreams of becoming a dentist, and it's set against the backdrop of a post-war Soviet South Caucasus war. So there's a lot of these, this is why I think film festivals especially are really important, because we don't hear some of these stories. We're so used to seeing things on Netflix or in the cinema. But I think film festivals are not only about showcasing the films, but actually having conversations around the films and why these stories need to be told, whether it's like the Amman Film Festival or Watermelon Productions. So that's one of the films that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Another film that has had a lot of conversation about it kind of at the festival and also in the run-up to the festival is Bye Bye Tiberias. So it's a film by Lina Sualem. Am I saying her name correctly? Great. And it's a documentary about her mother, and her mother and grandmother are both in the documentary as well. Her mother is somebody who you might be familiar with.
I'm very familiar with. One of my favorite TV shows ever.
Yes. So she's Hiam Abbas and so she's an actress in Succession. Can you remember her character's name?
Oh my God, I can't remember her character's
But you can
name.
remember her character's role.
Oh, I can remember her character's role.
So she plays
the wife.
The partner of Logan Roy, who
is the main protagonist,
pushed to
really.
the side in season 3.
So good.
With no spoilers here, even though it's kind of pretty well documented. So the documentary is about leaving their village in Palestine and kind of that emotional process.
Yeah, she's a fantastic actress. She's been in other things
She lived
as
in
well.
France, right? They lived in France, and I think
But she's done stuff as well in America. I think she's on the show Rami, which was like really popular. And she's just a great actress. And she's, again, like another person who's just kind of like very subtly has made her way in the acting world. And actually she's got this huge like history in her family that now is coming to light through this film by her daughter, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Really nice full circle.
So I think it's going to be a lot of films. Are there any films that you want to chat about? Is there anything you're very excited about?
There's a few things, but like I think Israelism has been spoken about a lot online. And I know Watermelon Pictures has actually now become one of the distributors of that film, which is a film by Jewish students, I believe, in New York, talking about kind of like the, you know, what Israel represents to them. And I think it's been hailed as this really important film, and there was like lots and lots of screenings across universities and campuses, especially when we had more of the kind of like sit-ins happening. And I know that's been taken over by Watermelon Pictures, so I'm kind of interested to see that. I haven't yet seen it, and a lot of my friends have been talking about it, so that's on my list.
Really interesting.
I also want to say something that I'm excited about when it comes to the film festival and as well Watermelon Pictures, something we've discussed before, which is like having these kind of film festivals or a what do you call it, like a studio house like Watermelon Pictures, is that it's not only encouraging for people to go watch films of untold stories, but it's also encouraging for script writers, camera people, video editors from the region who are interested to be in the film industry, but they're not actors, or they're not like what you would think of when you think of a film, an actor or a director. It's such a big infrastructure around that. And I think the more opportunities that there are, which is something like what Amman Pictures is doing, or Amman, that help educate people about what it means to create film and do film, and to inspire like younger generations to be able to tell stories, not just about like the hardships of the region, but, you know, like a lovely romantic comedy from the region would be nice, you know, like, or like a wholesome family story as well, you know? So I think it's like the beginnings of the infrastructure to build that. I said infrastructure twice. The beginning of the infrastructure to build the infrastructure for a great storytelling platform for Arabs, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I think like all of these things we need to always remember as well. Like it feels like it's in its infancy, but like the Oscars started at some point and then it built momentum. Yeah. Same with Cannes Film Festival. And it's down to us really as like the population here in this region to add weight to it. So it's really down to all of us to keep talking about these things, talk about what's happening there, publicize it, visit it, celebrate it. And that's how things like this gain momentum and actually become like a global player. So woohoo, well done, Amman Film Festival.
Yeah. So it's running until the end of this week. I think it's running until the 12th, and that's when there's an awards ceremony to kind of close the festival out. So there'll be more to talk about next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Speaking of films,
right?
And I was talking about wholesome films and Arab films. There is an Emirati-Saudi film that's coming out on July 11th. Today,
so the day the pod comes out.
The day the pod comes out. It's called Eid Eiden. So, what does that mean? That means Eid times 2.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say for any non-Arabic speaking listeners or presenters, what does it mean?
It means Eid times 2, basically. Eid twice over.
Like double Eid?
Double Eid. Maybe that's a better.
Eid squared?
Eid squared. 8.2. So it is it's produced and directed by an all-female Emirati crew, which is very cool. And I love Christmas movies, okay? I always think Christmas is a really great time of year to create a story around. And I've always thought, why isn't there more movies and films and books that are around Eid holidays?
That's such a good point.
Right?
That's a good point.
I mean,
is this the start of an empire?
This is the start of a genre, I hope. The Eid film genre. So this is one of the first that I've seen that's a wholesome family film. And it's basically about, I believe the protagonist is Saudi and his wife is from the Emirates. And it's Eid, and they want to come to Abu Dhabi to Yas Island to celebrate at the Warner Brothers studios.
So it's got big Yas energy, which is where we're filming.
Right now, representing our hood.
We're right here.
But the twist is on the day that they're supposed to travel, their nanny runs away, or she goes missing. So the couple...
Very relatable.
Sorry, did I gasp?
You're like, perish. Perish the thought.
The nanny?
The nanny has disappeared. And so the parents are like, wait, we have to take care of the dad particularly.
How many children have they got?
3. all
That's
under
a
the
lot.
age of like, I think 8 or 9.
Someone compared it to Cheap by the Dozen to me, but it's actually like the 3.
It's just 3. But and from the trailer, the kids are framed as like, not troublemakers, but they're not like the easiest kids. And the dad works a lot, is like
You're
shocked.
outnumbered if you've got 3.
Yeah, exactly. You're outnumbered if you have 3.
Did you hear that? I'm hoping my husband's listening.
Look right in the camera.
No more. Okay.
We're outnumbered.
So the adventure kind of begins with them landing here and them dealing with, it's more about the father who's like, I've never really understood what it means to take care of the kids full time. And also what's an interesting layer is that his father-in-law, who lives in Abu Dhabi, doesn't like him. So it's also like, why doesn't my father-in-law like me? And how can I like reconcile this relationship while trying to also be a good dad to my children and realizing that they're like very difficult to deal with, all in Yas Island. So it's a fun, wholesome family film. Yeah.
And anyone who goes to watch the film will see some familiar places.
I believe they might have shot some of it here, right?
As it was all shot
On Yas.
On Yas. So it's mainly, they stay at the Warner Brothers Hotel. I believe they go to like Ferrari World. I think they go to like Yas Water World. So
They've got the pass.
It's a little bit, it has like some of the same kind of like Chief Island Officer energy where it's like kind of like jumping around all the real hotspots. But hey, there are some hotspots on Yas.
There's a lot of hotspots on Yas. I love living close to here.
But you know what I love about this film is that it's like an advertisement for the UAE in a way. Like Honeymoonish, which was not from the UAE, was filmed in, I talked about a couple of weeks ago, the rom-com, the Arab rom-com that was Kuwait and Lebanon. It was like great. It was #1 globally on Netflix for like a couple of weeks. And I'm like, how cool if this film becomes, top up there in the Netflix films, foreign film section. And it's not only produced and directed by an all-woman Arab team, but it also shows off like the best parts of Abu Dhabi. I think that would be like a really cool thing for the region.
I'm definitely going to watch it.
Should we talk about some of the women who are behind the film?
Yes.
So it is the feature debut of director Maitha Alawadhi. Have I said her name correctly? Yes. God, guys, I'm nailing it. Rawia Abdulla is the producer, and Sara Al Sayegh, who wrote it. So 3 Emirati women who are behind this film, and kind of, let's hope it goes on to be a pretty popular release here. And even, people are gonna get like a bit of a familiar
It's always fun to see places on screen.
Yeah,
like
it's
it doesn't
exciting.
matter, right? Like whenever I see like parts of London, I'm like, they're on Primrose Hill. I know that.
Let me tell you about when it snowed and I was there.
Yeah, exactly. But this time it'll be like, they're on Yas.
Let me tell you about when I was driving to work and I was there.
I mean, the only international film I can think of that had that was Mission Impossible. And I was living in New Zealand when that came out. And I was like, I've been there. I know that place. With, what's his name?
Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise, yeah.
Wow.
That guy, that indie actor that, done a couple of films. Yeah, that guy. That was really cool. It was cool when you see, the place you are represented.
Yeah.
All I have is Mission Impossible and Lord of the Rings. So.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings was big in New Zealand.
Yeah, big New Zealand. Even now, Lord of the Rings? I'm like, yes.
Really? Do people still bring it up in
like,
conversation?
Whenever I say I grew up in New Zealand, they're like, Lord of the Rings or Jacinda or the All Blacks. Can you do the haka? No.
I was going to ask if you could do a haka.
No, I mean, I learned it.
Did you?
Can you imagine me, like, beanpole of a child with all these, like, big rugby players and, like, doing the haka? I was like, I'm just going to sit and read my book.
Did you have to learn what they say? Because I always wondered that.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
You're useless, man.
Yeah,
anyway.
I am pretty useless.
Confessions.
Moving swiftly on to, like, the biggest news ever, but someone needs to explain this timeline to me because I feel like this has been the Ambani wedding.
Right, listen. The other day, we were talking about what our specialist subject or mastermind would be, and I'm not saying that this time next year my specialist subject will be at the Ambani wedding, but I am saying that right now, if I was forced to go on mastermind, I probably would choose the Ambani wedding because we've spoken about it and written about it so much.
So much. Like this
Feels like it feels like Glastonbury. Is that how you say
I think it makes Glastonbury look small fry.
Glastonbury looks tiny compared to this. It's just the gift, the wedding that just keeps on giving.
Right, so I have the timeline. I'm here to answer
break
your
it down.
questions. So you may think that you've heard about it for quite some time. It's been going on for a while. It's been ongoing. That is because you are not losing your mind. It has been going on forever. Right, so And
Wait, pause for 1 second. They are billionaires. That's all you need to know. Richest family in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're the richest. Like, so Anand Ambani is the son of Indian billionaires, and he is marrying Radhika Merchant, and she is the daughter of a millionaire. I don't know if her dad's a billionaire. Poor guy.
Just a millionaire.
So they got engaged in December 2022.
Okay.
They then had the first part of the wedding in January
2022.
They had the first part of the wedding in January 2023. Then they had their engagement party in January 2023. Then they had the pre-wedding party in March, which is when we had like Rihanna and everyone in India celebrating there. You had like Ivanka Trump and her family were at that. Do you remember that?
Do you know what?
They had the emerald that was like the size of
big
a piece of soap.
You know that meme where the woman just kind of like pauses and the maths are like popping up around her face?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like right now, because I'm like, 2022.
Well, you're like Charlie and Always Sunny.
It's been like 2 years then. My Arab brain is like, where's the baby? I'm not going to lie.
I think it'll be far
What
off.
are they doing?
So-
Why are they wasting so much time?
They're just kicking that can down the road. So yeah, March was the pre-wedding party, which was like a bonanza. And then at the end of May, beginning of June, we had the European leg, which is when we had the European
Leg of the tour, the wedding tour.
Yeah,
wedding
the
tour.
European cruise party, and also some like chateau party. At the cruise, the Backstreet Boys and David Guetta performed. Also, they've had like a musical lineup that is like festival worthy. And also,
Backstreet Boys and David Guetta at the same time. That's an interesting.
yeah.
I'm sure they
eclectic-
didn't perform together.
It was
No,
a
but
strictly
yeah.
no phones policy, so we have got nil footage.
Okay, I love that. I'm going to do that for all of my parties.
Weddings.
So the bride, all of your weddings.
My wedding?
The bride spoke to Vogue India and said it was a retreat for the people that have contributed to our lives in different ways.
Okay.
Are you willing to host a retreat for me, having contributed to your life in some different ways?
It's my life.
I
I'll buy you a candle. That's what I do.
To be fair, thrilled. Yeah,
Yeah.
please do. 1,200 people attended the kind of European leg. Also, Andrea Bocelli performed at the Chateau.
I think it's easier to ask who has not performed.
Also performed at Kim's wedding.
Also,
been
like,
done.
I want to know, like, obviously this is amazing, and we have to, even though it feels really extravagant.
I'm
we
not
are-
even up to
It
date.
feels
I'm not up
extravagant.
to date. That's not we aren't finished.
We haven't. Oh,
Okay.
Sorry.
European-
I'll give my comments off.
Please. So then we had the Sangeet this weekend, just gone. And
What's the Sangeet?
That is a pre-wedding ceremony, another pre-wedding ceremony. Goodness gracious me. Which literally translates to music. So it's a musical night where the bride and groom sides both perform dance numbers and take part in like friendly competitions. Guess who performed at that?
I do know. Justin Bieber.
Yeah. That friend and family member.
The right Justin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He did perform at that. So that was being held in Mumbai. And then the actual wedding, dun, 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 is this weekend, July 12th and 14th.
And it's happening
This
where?
weekend, and then it's done.
Yeah.
2 years.
A year and a half. Yeah, a year and a half.
A year and a half.
I am going to say, obviously,
Round up.
congratulations to the happy couple. Like, we do have to. Like,
Wish you health,
congratulations.
wealth,
course.
happiness.
Wealth,
Yeah.
health, happiness, lots of babies.
Listen, if I had
All
the
of it.
budget, who says I wouldn't?
Yeah. So, yeah. And like, if there is a spare 3 invitations, we would love to come. I'm sure it's really fun. But how do you have that many people, like that many friends? Like, is it the same people that come to each of the ceremonies, or do you split it up? Do you have like friends for just like Europe?
I actually know somebody who went.
Of course you
To
do.
which part?
Do I know them?
No, you don't know them. I know we're thinking of the same person. No, it's they went to the one where Rihanna performed. So
Pre-wedding party.
Pre-wedding party number.
March 1 to 3.
And I was like, how was it? And they were like, oh, we just sat next to Mark Zuckerberg. And I was like, oh,
That was the
okay.
one where all the American billionaires attended.
So I feel like they must have some kind of like system where like the American billionaires, the British billionaires, the European billionaires, I don't know, some kind of system,
Okay.
or business associates or
Like,
something
yeah,
like
it must
that.
be like that. It must be a bit of that, right? Like, it's a business meeting as well.
Yeah, it
perhaps?
is.
Of course. I think at the big wedding this weekend, so it's taking place at the Nita Ambani Cultural Centre. Do you remember when that opened? That was kind of like, they
Yes.
described it as India's Met Gala.
Yes.
Oh,
It was
yes.
last year or this year?
I think the year before.
Yeah.
So Nita is the groom's mother. Nita Mukesh Ambani.
Can I just say she's stunning?
Yeah, she is. And that brings me very smoothly on to my highlight from the wedding. I know you haven't asked, but thank you so much for
What's your highlight from the wedding?
so far. So from the Sangeet, the groom's sister, Isha Ambani, wore an incredible outfit. It was a custom blue and silver Schiaparelli sari that is truly stunning, and it's like got some like real structure. It's incredible. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the necklace that she wore as a headpiece. It was like draped around her bun. She had a low bun, and I have done my research, and I counted 38 diamonds in this necklace, and none of them are small. They kind of range from like 5 to 6 carats, like in the bottom, kind of going up to one huge 10 carat middle one. But it kind of almost looks like, oh yeah, of course there's about, surely there's like millions of dollars of diamonds in her hair.
In her hair.
In her hair.
As a hair accessory.
It's a hairpiece.
You know what? If I did that, everyone would know it was fake. Probably, even if it was real, people would be like, oh, that's not real. She won't have. I think sometimes even if I spend money on like something quite expensive, I sometimes think, is there really a point? People are going to look at me and just be like, it's probably fake.
Enas, I could go and get like, what is it? Like cubic zirconia. And put 38 of them in my hair. I'd still be like, this is kind of pushing the budget. It's quite spenny for a headpiece. Like this is.
Can I ask, when you see that, is there like a difference in terms of taste value of that compared to Teresa Jadudice's as hairpiece for her wedding from the Real Housewives of...
Thank you so much for bringing this to my level. I actually don't watch Real Housewives, but I do know
you know the image.
Yeah,
it's burned in our brains of Teresa Jadudice.
It's not burned in mine.
Oh, I'll send you. It's like a massive hairpiece, and also, I just think like, is it necessary?
Somehow, I'm going to say that this still managed to look like quite subtle and chic.
Oh, it did? Okay, that's what I was asking.
It's like a draped necklace. It's not like a big flamboyant headpiece. So she's just got her bun, and it's just basically punctuated with diamonds.
Okay.
That's how I'd like to be. Punctuate me with diamonds, please.
I have a question for you guys. Would you rather go to the Ambani wedding or have gone to the Kate and Will wedding? Or Meghan and Harry wedding?
Oh, Ambani.
Yeah.
Because I think royal weddings are just trying to be too royal. I'd rather go to extravaganza.
To be fair, like this, I mean, Kate and William's wedding looked wonderful, but it was just one day. Like this is like, I could have got like a year and a half of work.
Chatted to some billionaires.
My full-time job now is attending this wedding, so I could not possibly attend that meeting.
You would definitely meet more interesting people at the Ambani wedding, for sure.
I don't know if you'd meet more interesting people. I think you just have more of extravaganza. I imagine someone at some point wore stilts. Did Justin Bieber perform at Kate and Will's? Probably not.
Yeah.
Stilts. I bet they had someone with some stilts.
Is that your aim for all sophisticated events?
I'm telling you,
there isn't a person on stilts, I'm not coming.
I just think that like, even if I wanted to be like that sophisticated, to have diamonds in my hair, people would just look at me and just be like, all right, love.
I think for one part of this wedding, they hired a safari park, but they didn't just hire it. They created a safari park.
Yeah, Kate and Wills didn't do that.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Should we talk about some recommendations?
So recommendations for
Recommend
this
to me.
week. So we're going to start doing this. It's a new little thing we're going to do. And it's just kind of recommending what we've been up to and what we'd like to do and what we think you guys should do in and around the UAE.
And this week, we've kind of had our homework done for us because the Michelin Guide has pulled together some wonderful recommendations for us. So the Michelin Guide announced the 3rd year of the Michelin lauded, starred, recommended restaurants here.
Can I
in
ask
Dubai.
a very ignorant question? And I'm sure there's lots of people like me out in the listeners.
No such thing as a silly question.
Yes. What is Michelin?
The tire company.
And why are they experts in the food star giving?
It started as a guide of places that were worth driving to for restaurants in France.
It was a way as well of getting people to use their cars initially to go out further than where they lived. So originally people would just like kind of buy a car and then just stay in their local area. Right. And then Michelin realized that actually if they promoted other places, then people would travel further afield and eventually like use their cars more, and it was a good advertisement for them.
It's incredible.
So
it's like the most drawn out, incredible marketing that's kind of gone.
Yeah.
Because you always hear Michelin star,
Yeah.
but I don't really.
But now it's become its own thing. I think
Yeah,
now
it's become
people,
it has its own life.
yeah, it's got its own way. Like it's a really strict process that the restaurateurs go through. Well, they don't go through a process. Sorry, that's bad. But the criticisms.
Yeah, so there's like completely anonymous what are they called?
Judges?
Judges? No.
Food critics or
Food
food.
critics.
I just think of Julia
They have a
Roberts in My Best
name,
Friend's
a
Wedding,
Michelin-
who was a.
Yeah.
Like investigator. It's not that. I've forgotten
Anyway.
the actual word.
But they go through this kind of like process of like tasting and trying out all the menus, and then they find ones that are particularly good or noteworthy. And if you're really good and you're really noteworthy, and it doesn't matter about price bracket. So some Michelin, some restaurants in the Michelin Guide are actually very affordable. So it's always worth.
Because you
giving it a
assume
look.
Michelin star, it's going to be like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very tough process, which makes it even cooler that there are some restaurants or a restaurant in the UAE, right?
There's multiple. I think there's now 19 restaurants in the UAE that
Which
have
is a lot for
Michelin
such a small
stars.
place.
That's a lot.
A division of some of them have 1 star. I think it's 4 restaurants that have 2 stars. If I have these numbers wrong, I'm so sorry, Mr. Michelin. But there are, so there's a good number of restaurants now that have Michelin stars in the UAE, 1 or 2. No restaurants yet to have 3 Michelin stars.
That's the top?
That is the top. But I think the list that I'm most keen to talk about is the Bib Gourmand list, which is the kind of...
Say that again?
The Bib Gourmand.
Oh, okay.
And it is the extremely good quality food for value of money list. So they are not... You can't describe somewhere that's got a bib as a Michelin-starred restaurant, but it is Michelin lauded. It's recognized as being extremely good quality and kind of putting out consistently phenomenal food. But it's most recognized for the kind of value for money in comparison to the super quality that you're getting. So the kind of like vibe of that is like the sort of small independent restaurants that kind of you go in, there's kind of maybe got like 50 tables max, and then or like 50 people max, and you can go in and kind of quite an intimate experience and have really, really phenomenal dishes, and you aren't necessarily spending like thousands per person. You can go in and kind of have like 120 dirhams and you're eating really phenomenal food.
So go on, name us a name then.
On the bib list,
Yeah.
One of my favorite restaurants in Dubai is Kinoya, which is started off as a ramen supper club and is now a restaurant in Dubai, in the Greens, in that neighborhood.
Lovely.
And it's got like traditional Japanese seating. It's also got like chef's tables, so you can sit around the ramen bar where they're cooking. And it's got a really nice little small dining room. I love it in there. That's, I always come back to that.
Talking of supper clubs,
Exactly.
I caused a bit of controversy because I went to one without Farah.
Yeah. She came to Dubai.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. So apologies. So one of my friends has recently moved to Dubai. I'll tell you the story. She's recently moved to Dubai from New York, but she used to live in Berlin, and she used to host her own supper club in Berlin.
Okay.
And
You're
she...
excused. This is a lot of reasons to
Yeah,
go.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
reasons.
fine.
And she found there was a supper club in Dubai called The Girl and the Goose that we went to for the first time this weekend. And it was lovely, hosted by a Venezuelan chef. I believe cook. And it was a really intimate, it was in her home. So these supper clubs are basically in somebody's home. And we all sat around the same table, and there were kind of like questions on the table so we could all ask each other. I got given the bowl of questions to ask the rest of the table.
So you were the host?
So I was kind of like the host, but they didn't know I had a podcast. So who
Oh,
knows if I
right.
found this out now.
So, Girl and the Gooses, I've been to that supper club, is really phenomenal food. And
Amazing food.
She has like a couple of ground rules, doesn't she? She doesn't want anyone to talk about their jobs or how. She is basically like, she kind of takes the classic 2 questions that you ask everybody at the beginning of a conversation in the UAE. What do you do and how long have you been in Dubai?
Yeah.
She kind of takes them off the table, so you have to be a bit more creative.
And if anybody asks them, then you get forfeited something. So nobody asked them.
What kind of forfeit?
have
I don't
absolutely
remember
no
there
idea.
being punishments
She was
at
like,
the supper club.
I will be listening if anyone asks those questions. But no, it was great. Really fun way to meet new people and like a really eclectic group of people. So that was really fun. I met like some Emirati doctors, which was lovely.
Medical
but yeah,
professionals.
medical
that
professionals.
like very good food.
And very good food. Like the ceviche was a highlight for me.
Well,
What a cool way to meet people in the summer.
It is a cool way to meet people. And again, like I think restaurants is a fun way to get out and about, but like also to mix it up and be with a group of people you never put yourself with. Which was fun.
And nice to kind of, have that kind of like be off the beaten track kind of dining experience, which is really special.
Really special.
This has been fun.
Yes, good catch up.
It's nice to be back together.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode.
If you like this episode, please follow and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app.
And don't forget to tell your friends and your network about us and to follow us on social media.
Bye.
Bye.